We have another new setup. How does this work? Can you hear me in the back?
Yep.
All right. So I want to welcome you to the Rotary Club of Florence, serving all Boone County, our meeting. I want to call Kathy Stavros up. She's going to do the prayer, pledge, and four-way test.
Let us pray. We are thankful for this day that you have given us, for its blessings, its opportunities, its challenges. May we appreciate and use each day that comes to us. We pray for strength and guidance for each day as it comes, for each day's duties, for each day's problems. May we be challenged to give our best always, and may we be assured of your presence with us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. 1.
Is it true?
2.
Is it fair to all concerned?
3.
Will it never this?
4.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Before I start. Sorry.
Runway 1919, clear. We have visitors here. We have Kristen Franks with us. Kristen, you want to rise and tell us what you do? Yeah, that's it. You don't have to get too specific.
My name is Kristen Franks. I'm a retired teacher, and I'm working with Joy Pyle with Parent Camp and Senior Media. Here is the cast of Joy's. Excited to see what you guys are up to.
Great. Welcome, Kristen. Shane Armstrong. I've met you several times now, Shane. I don't know if Roger remembers your name, but Shane, you want to tell us what you do and who you are now?
Who I am today?
Yeah.
Okay. Shane Armstrong. I have the pleasure to be here with you guys, so thank you for the invite. I also have the opportunity to follow in Roger Babbitt's footsteps as the next president of Master Business. So nice to meet you all.
Fantastic. Roger's still a size 7 pump, if I remember correctly. Oh boy, that went over. Hey, Happy New Year, everybody. Glad to see everybody. It's been great. Hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we have all kinds of good things. We have a new Congress in the United States. I think it took, half a dozen, 15 votes, but we have a new Speaker of the House. It was kind of like watching Parliament on CNN when you watch it. There were shouting and screaming and all kinds of things, and I thought they were supposed to be sworn in instead of sworn at, but it's all a little different these days. But we do want it. The other thing that confused me, and I'm not parliamentarian of this club, but I didn't know how people could vote when they hadn't been sworn in as the new Congress. Can somebody look that up for me and email me that? Because I'm really curious how that would be. But evidently you could vote, but you weren't sworn in as a new member yet. So that's a good thing to know. Who day, everywhere. Yeah, I got Who Day. 8 straight wins. It's pretty incredible. Nice vibe down there. The Dirty Birds were in town yesterday, and they were not nice on many of the piles as they were getting up. So we're going to try to remember that. But we are grateful for winning the North Division two weeks in a row. Yeah, Who Day, way to go. Coach's daughter there. She remembers everything. Got her Bengals jersey on. And then I'm going to our new year started with a new addition to the family. 1240. Thank you. I didn't have anything to do with that other than maybe a decade or so ago. 12:43 a.m. on New Year's Day. We have a new baby granddaughter. The first granddaughter. We're all excited about that. My wife and I had 2 sons, and our oldest son had 2 sons. So we have a little darling girl, Maeve Maureen Carroll, who's joined the Irish clan, and I'm going to do $10 for the Happy Wife because it's a little girl. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, announcements. Look for a sign-up genius coming soon to do senior exit interviews. If you have not participated in this through Boone County Schools, it is an absolutely incredible experience. It's one of the things I really look forward to every year. So look for that sign-up genius to come. Don't forget to order your Rotary shirt from Dave Wolfer. Dawn, did you want to come up and talk to us about the trip to Frankfurt?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, we've got the trip to Frankfurt coming up. There it is, February 7th, and getting excited about that. I hope everybody made that. We're going to have a sign-up genius for carpooling. I was talking to Senator Schickel just a few minutes ago. He's got some ideas for us. We're also going to try to meet with Justice Michelle Keller in the Kentucky Supreme Court. And we've got a few other things that we might be working on trying to put together. So it's going to be a fun, exciting day. I know it takes a good part of the day. So if you're working every day and can't make it, I understand that, but it will definitely be worth your time. So that's coming up. We've got some other good programs coming up too. I'm pretty excited about. We've got sheepdog industries coming, which Roger, you're probably familiar with them. Actually, we've got one of the toy makers. When Star Wars came out, the movie Star Wars, it was kind of slated to be a dud. And what Kenner did is, what the studios did is they said, hey, what if we develop some toys to go along with the movie? So we're going to have one of the chief developers as a speaker in a few weeks. So that's going to be interesting too. So that's what we've got coming up.
Thank you.
That's a Tuesday.
And where I mentioned, look for a sign-up genius, there will probably be another sign-up genius around this, both who's going and who wants to help us drive our down. So look for that information. We do have a board meeting today, right after our Rotary Club meeting. There is no meeting on Monday, January 16th. That is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so there is no meeting then. And when we do have the next meeting, which is the 23rd, it is off-site. It is at the Hebron branch of the Boone County Public Library. So just remember that. We'll send out lots of reminders for that. Teacher of the Year, we are accepting Teacher of the Year nominations. The deadline is February 10th. And the scholarship application is live currently. The deadline for that is March 10th. And please let Dave Wolfer know if you would like to help review applications. I also want to let you know, if you remember back on November 21st, we have our meeting at the Gateway Community and Technical College to honor John and Connie Salyers with the Hand Up Grant Endowment, which was our partnership. We've gotten a couple of really nice write-ups about that in the district newsletter. You should have received this in an email. If not, let me know. We'll make sure you get a copy. There was a really nice write-up about that program and about John and Connie and what we're hoping that fund will do. And then the Northern Kentucky Magazine also had a very nice write-up about the Hand Up Scholarship. So there's some good information out there so people know about it and can continue to donate to that cause. Rotary Leadership Institute. If you have not been to this, I highly recommend it. You learn so much going through this institute. And we're looking to grow leadership in our club, leadership around the district. So we have, it's virtual. So you can do it in your pajamas if you want from home. Saturday, January 28th and February 4th, 8 a.m. to 11:30, both of those days. You should have gotten some information about that. If you're interested and you didn't see that, let me know. I'll make sure it gets forwarded to you. And John already mentioned it, Happy Dollars. Congratulations on your granddaughter. Anybody else have any happy thoughts for $1 for the club? Dwayne.
I got a few happy dollars. I would like to thank everyone for their kind words. My father-in-law passed away before Christmas. And I don't know about everybody else, but you know, with the whole Marius Hamlin incident, it was tragic, but it showed how great of a city that we live in. And, absolutely. And it showed our Midwest values. And what's interesting, when he woke up from his coma, he asked the doctor, did we win? And the doctor's like, no, you won at the game of life. And I think at Rotarians, we all win at the game of life. So there's a happy $1. And with this cold weather, I decided to not shave for a while. And as a young man, I always had a very bright red beard. And some would say kind of GQ, sophisticated, but I want to know who painted my beard gray. That's what I want.
How many sons do you have?
What's that?
How many sons?
I've got 2.
There you go.
That's exactly right.
My first one is I survived our Christmas vacation.
Absolutely, you survived it.
I don't have any broken bones, so if you want another story, ask me. It was I got caught up in the Southwest fiasco.
Planes,
And so
trains,
did
and
my
automobiles.
luggage. Yes, so did my luggage. 2, my daughter was home for the holidays, thoroughly enjoyed my time with her. And I think we mentioned that the scholarship one, she officially is on the dean's list with a 4.0. So.
Yay.
All right. Anyone else? Roger.
Yes. Since last we met, God had provided funding so that Master Provisions has space for our new home. It was a $500,000 grant from the R.C. Durf Foundation.
That's awesome.
And I am officially headed towards retirement, but my focus will be on helping to raise funds to turn it into reality. So it's worth at least $5.
Anyone else? All right, this is the way to start off the new year. Great news all the way around. Birthdays, yeah, we just missed your birthday. It was on the 6th, so happy birthday. And then anniversaries.
Carrie Stewart.
So I want to wish happy anniversaries to Gary, Pat, and Joe. So happy anniversary. And then just a reminder, you can connect your Kroger community or your Kroger rewards card to Rotary, as well as your Amazon. Well, we all shop at Amazon and Kroger, so let's get some money for Rotary and our Rotary Foundation and all of the work that we do.
And buy your gift cards for Amazon at Kroger, and then you get double the money.
Exactly. We figured this out.
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
Julie, yes, Julie is going to introduce our speakers, and I'm really excited for this program.
So I'm very excited about this program because you all know my passion is education, but it's also getting kids on the right career path. And it's what matches their aptitudes and interests and finding how they can get there. And really pushing that. But at the same time, we have to mesh it with the employer side because the employers have needs for employment. So I'm thrilled to introduce Jenny Lamoth and Corey Eimer. Jenny, I met probably almost 2 years ago now, when COVID hit. We started doing virtual parent camps, and we did one for our Northern Kentucky community that was around college and career exploration, and Jenny was on the planning team with me for that, and was also a facilitator. And Corey just became familiar with because he's in Leadership Northern Kentucky with me, which is, if you've never been part of that experience, highly recommend. We actually have a day on Thursday we're going to be together all day. So, and Corey is with the Northern Kentucky Area Development District, and they work together in getting our kids through the talent and into a pipeline and working for our employers, but really finding one of the best places for that. That works for the kids and for our employers. So I'm going to turn it over to the two of you.
Okay. Gotta get this on without messing it up here. Oh, that was a fail. Sorry.
When our budget, we spent 500 for that.
Right after I said I'll try to get it on, not messing it up, I immediately dropped it. Sorry. All right. Haven't worn it first in a while, so here I am now here. All right. So thank you, first of all. As Julie said, my name is Corey Eimer. I'm the Associate Director of Workforce for the Northern Kentucky Area Development District. And the Director of the North, I'm just gonna hold this in my hand. Yeah, the Director for the Northern Kentucky Workforce Investment Board. I really appreciate the invitation and the chance to be with you today. It's nice to see some familiar faces. I didn't expect to see some folks I used to work with. Sean and Roger spoke at a recent church men's retreat that I attended, and Judge Moore. I didn't expect to see all these friendly faces, so it's nice to see everybody. And of course, as Julie said, we're in a leadership Northern Kentucky together. So my job today is to really tee up the conversation for Jen, because my world is workforce. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that we're having some workforce challenges today. Employers are having a difficult time finding talent. And a big part of that is youth. Getting kids in the secondary world prepared to make that transition from high school into either a career or career training, whether that be college or any sort of post-secondary training. That's our goal. And I know that's Jenny's goal. And the goal of Navigo is to properly introduce, I say children, young adults, to career pathways, to really let them see the possibilities and the different career options available to them. So I wanted to point out some key statistics really about workforce. And as I said, to really tee up the importance of introducing students to the YouScience assessment.
which is what Jenny is going to talk in great detail about. First of all, we have 2 available jobs for every job seeker today in our state. And for those of you who are employers in the room, you're probably not going to be surprised because it's so difficult to fill these jobs. In our 8-county area development district, we had approximately 14,000 jobs posted in the last month. It really varies per month. We're talking about roughly 7,000 job postings in the upper 3 counties per month, and anywhere between 13,000 and 15,000 job postings in the 8-county area development district. So many jobs needing to be filled, and simply not enough folks to fill those jobs. A big part of that is a group that we call Opportunity Youth. Those are 16 to 24-year-olds who are either not working or not in school. So we've got a group of young adults who have completed high school, maybe successful, maybe they earned their high school diploma, but for one reason or another, they never made the transition into career training or right into employment. So, think about that for a second. 6,000 roughly people in our 8-county area are not working or not in school either. So that's a really big audience for us to try to reach, to engage, to pull into the labor market to help us with some of these job opportunities. The other thing that we know is that the high school diploma usually isn't enough. You can certainly get a job with a high school diploma, but the majority of jobs, especially the jobs that pay a living wage, you're going to need some sort of post-secondary credentials. It doesn't necessarily mean a 4-year college, but you're going to need some level of training after high school to really be competitive in the job market and be successful long term. So again, the tool, the YouScience assessment that Jenny's going to tell you about, really, and I won't steal your thunder, Jenny, but it really does a nice job of helping students identify what they're good at, what they're interested in. If you think back to when you were in high school, I know when I was in high school, you only have exposure to a really limited number of career opportunities. Maybe what your parents did, certainly what teachers do, what doctors do, lawyers, but so many professions that are out there that kids don't have any idea about. And the purpose of the YouScience assessment is not only to expose the kids to these multitude of career opportunities that there are, but my favorite part about the YouScience assessment is it helps kids identify their aptitudes. So many kids don't realize what they're good at. And it's really a strength-based tool that helps kids see, wow, I didn't realize I had these set of skills, and they match up perfectly with career options A, B, and C. And to really give them that confidence boost to know that their skills are really useful in society. It could be very helpful for careers. I show this graphic not to suggest that high schools are failing students, because I don't believe they are. I think high schools are doing a very good job. I show this graphic because it illustrates that we have a shrinking population. These are the number of high school graduates from 2010 to 2020. So you can see it, maybe you can't see because the numbers are kind of small, but 24,500, a little bit over that. In 2010, we had graduate from high school in Northern Kentucky. In 2020, we were down to just under 20,000, actually just over 19,000. So a significant decline in number of high schoolers graduating, which means it falls right in line with our overall population challenges. We simply don't have enough people in our society. We're having fewer and fewer children being born. Graduation rates are going down because fewer kids are in high school, which makes it all the more important we help those children, those youth, while they're in high school, identify those career pathways so that they can move on to the next phase and be productive, healthy, happy members of society. Yes, sir.
Is that on a national level?
This is Northern Kentucky. Yes, sir. It mirrors national data though. Much of the data when it comes to population changes all over the country, we're shrinking.
But that's the 8 county number, not the 3 county number.
Yes, Jerry. Yep, 8 counties. And that's a good point too, because some of the statistics you'll see are 8 counties, some are 3 counties, some are statewide. So yeah, it's important to know the source of the data. So. All right, so that ends my piece. So hopefully I've introduced.
I'm glad Corey did all the things that I would have done. Thank you, Corey. So my name is Jenny Lamont, and as Corey and Julie both stated, I work for Navigo. And my background is in higher education. So before coming to Navigo, I have 17 years working in higher education. Most recently, 13 of those years were at NKY. And thoroughly enjoyed that experience. And because of that, it gave me the perspective of knowing there were kids in college that weren't sure why they were there, what they should major in. Mom and dad made them go or told them they should go and they should do this. And so a lot of students will then feel lost if they haven't really figured things out. And I don't know about you guys, but 35-ish years ago, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated high school. So when I found this tool, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is a game changer. This is really going to make a difference. So what's been happening prior to YouScience in the region is we're giving students interest inventories. What are you interested in? Well, you can only imagine if you've only been exposed to certain careers, those are the ones you could say you're interested in. If there's careers out there that you maybe have heard of, but you really didn't understand what they were, you can't really say you're interested in something. And students today are just hit with a barrage of information on social media. And whatever was TikTok last night might be what they're interested in today. That doesn't mean it's something that would be a good fit for them. So self-reported interest inventories have biases based on social, what's cool right now, what mood the students are in, but also that exposure gap. So you can't say something is interesting if you haven't been exposed to it, hence the exposure gap. So finding this information really helps students understand beyond what they've been exposed to, what mom and dad do, what grandparents do, extended family members. They know about doctors because they've been to the doctor. They know about a dentist, they've been to the dentist. Teachers, lawyers, those are all the things you hear about over and over again, but there's so much more. So one of the first little bits of data that we found from YouScience, and this is not based on Northern Kentucky, this is actually based, they did, when we found YouScience in 2018, at that time, the entire state of Georgia had it mandatory in all of their schools. So this data comes from Georgia, but it's pretty powerful. So over on the right, we have key in-demand industries: technology, manufacturing, construction, and healthcare. Okay. So the top 2 lines, we asked females and males. I said we, I don't work for YouScience, but I might as well at this point. And 52% of males had an interest in those 4 areas: technology, manufacturing, construction, and healthcare. 22% of females had an interest. And you're kind of thinking probably what they're thinking, oh, well, you know, it's a male-dominated field, or it's messy, or whatever. But when they gave them the aptitude assessments, 78% of those females had aptitude for those 4 in-demand careers or career industries. That's huge. And we hear all this information about girls in STEM, really want girls excited about science and math. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more we need to be doing. And then when we look at students of color, 31% of Black students have an interest in those 4 areas, but 78% have the aptitude. 43% of Hispanic students had the interest, but 79% had the aptitude. And then other students, ethnicity, 33% had interest, but 79% had aptitude. So we had a huge gap with our students of color and our female students. You can also see there is a difference with males and white students as well. So we just need to do a better job of helping students understand what else is out there. Do we add that to the teachers' plates? They're already losing their minds with everything they're having to do that continues to be put on them. The money's not there to support them. So should we ask them to then also be career counselors? We do have career counselors in the schools, but like typically one for the entire student body. So what we did, and this was, so let me back up and tell you, right now, there in Northern Kentucky, there are 22 student accounts for YouScience. So we've worked with high schools and districts in Northern Kentucky to help them bring this assessment to their students. And if you're familiar at all with the ASVAB, that was something that students could take that was an aptitude assessment. It was pencil and paper, but it also aligned them with industry and careers in the military. So sometimes students would freak out a little bit and not want to take that because they were afraid it would sign them up for the military, which is too bad because it gave them really great information. And at one point, the state of Kentucky, that was something that was supported with career exploration. And it's not something that is necessarily in their individual learning plans as an option these days, so the students don't necessarily take it the way they used to. So a lot of schools were using interest inventories and said, hey, we've got this really cool tool, you might try it, it's pretty powerful. It's a series of brain games. So students take brain games. It's 11 brain games. There is an interest inventory. The last game is an interest inventory, but it is asking what type of work do you value? So it will say, hey, not you should be a dentist or a cabinet maker, which a lot of these things will say, or a bus driver or a homemaker, which is old language at this point. However, this will say, hey, you like work that is competitive. You like work that is creative. So it helps them understand what type of work they value. So the students take these brain games. It takes them about 90 minutes and break it up and take a few here, take a few another day. And it gives them powerful information. Not only does it explain to them what their aptitudes are and what those mean and how it impacts their daily life, but it is a way for them to then see over 500 careers are in this, pulled from ONET, if you've got any familiarity with that, which is fed by the Department of Labor and Statistics. They have rankings. So for all of you, for the careers you've had, there are rankings out there for what your aptitude should be to be successful in that career. What it does is takes the students' aptitudes and lays them over top to help them see how well they're aligned for that career. So not only, hey, these are your aptitudes, these are the things you're really good at and how you could translate that to work, but here are the careers that you would be fantastic at based on those aptitudes and then based on the type of work you're interested in. So at the time that we pulled this report, we had about 15,000 student accounts. Right now we're at 22,000. Of those accounts, about 10,000 of the students of the 15 had completed it. Now we're 15,000 have completed it, and we're hoping by the end of the year about 17,000 have completed it, just to kind of give you an idea. So this report information I'm going to share with you is for 10,000 students over Northern Kentucky, different districts, different schools. So what we found is for job family summary. These are the top 5 areas that students had aptitude for in Northern Kentucky. Healthcare practitioners and technical. And the blue is their aptitude. The yellow is their interest. And then the kind of checkerboard is a combination of interest and aptitude because it does sort careers that way as well. So aptitude, 69%, healthcare practitioners and technical. That is huge. So what do we need to do? It's not just doctors, nurses, and maybe whoever's running the x-ray machine. There's so much more. Then we have computer and mathematical, again, huge. Getting into IT, getting into actuary, statistics, all of these things. So 44% aptitude there. 43% aptitude in educational instruction and library. Man, do we need that right now? We have so many educators leaving the profession right now because of the pay and the treatment and things like that. So we've got to really make sure that these kids move forward with that. Architecture and engineering, 41%, and life and physical and social science, 40%. Now, that breaks down, and I'm happy to share the report with Julie, and she can send it out if you guys are interested in looking at it, but what exactly falls into these categories. Okay. And then part 2 of the report is FIT, by CTE pathway. So basically, it's telling us that 11% of female students have aptitude for cybersecurity, but 0 have any interest in it, okay? 9% have aptitude for programming, only 1% have interest. Big opportunity there to nurture that interest. Overall, male students' pathways recommendations are less concentrated interest-wise than female students. There are opportunities to create interest in in-demand fields like healthcare technology and quality assurance. So top 5 CTE pathways for all students on the left, based on just their aptitude, on the right, based on just their interest. So you're gonna see some disconnects there, okay? So top alignment aptitude, non-invasive technology and healthcare and diagnostics, research, labs. But the interest is counseling and mental health services. Well, of course it is right now. Mental health crisis is happening across the United States. So it's in everybody's mind, in the forefront of everybody's mind. Agri-science systems, this is an emerging industry for our state. Teaching as a profession, interest alignment, which I'm not saying don't, but we want to make sure they're going into those professions that they're really suited to. Cybersecurity, graphic design, programming, early childhood care and education, quality assurance, sports medicine, which isn't surprising given the area we are in all professional teams. So basically this data, and we're hoping to get some funding together to run this report again, possibly this summer when we have almost double the amount of students completed. It's going to give us a better look at the data. Basically, YouScience on a micro level is going to help the individual student really figure out what's good for them. You know, when I graduated, I was like, I think I might want to teach. I'm not sure. I'm just going to hold my breath and hope that works out. But to be able to say, oh, this shows that I really do have the aptitude for that. That's kind of, okay, I feel better about it. Now I can kind of move forward and invest all that money into college. So for a student to kind of have a little more self-assurance, it also gives them so much self-awareness. I took this assessment and I was like, man, I'm 51 years old. I wish I'd known this stuff about myself in a way that I could verbalize it. As an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old, that would be powerful. So micro level student, macro level, using this data to say, hey, guess what? Industry A, you should build here. Look where our aptitudes lie. Look at what we have coming out of high schools in this region. Let's keep them here. Let's get them into your workforce talent pipeline. So we work, one of my colleagues at Navigo is the College and Career Connector for Northern Kentucky. So she brings industry and education together and helps break down barriers like, hey, we've got students who need exposure in manufacturing. Okay, well, they can't come in if they're under 18. Okay, what can we do to work on this? Ohio's figured out a way around this. What can we do in Kentucky? So we need to continually have exposure opportunities for students. Once they figure out they have the aptitude, then we got to get them out there. What is this? Where can I go and check this out? Spend a day shadowing or even do an internship or a co-op. So really it's about education's over there, business is over here. No, we got to bring everybody together because education is helping prepare your future employees. And don't you want to have a stake in the game by giving them some experience before they graduate? So there's a lot invested for both parties. So this is kind of the power of YouScience, not only as an individual helpful student tool, but then for the region, where can we not only expose these students, but also bring in new industry to the area. So I think that's all I have. So any questions? I threw a lot at you. If any of you are interested and want to take it yourselves, I can give you an account. Yes, sir.
John, I wasn't clear on what your outfit is as far, I heard the name, you working with it. What exactly is your outfit? Who runs it and where do you get the money?
Great question. So I work for Navigo, and we are the vision of Learning Grove. If anybody's familiar with Children Inc., okay, Children Inc. is now Learning Grove. Children Inc. merged with Cincinnati Early Learning Centers and became Learning Grove, and now offers cradle to career support for families. And we're the middle school and up version of that support. We get a lot of our funding through grants. We recently received some dollars from the governor's discretionary fund with our work. We've received, we are partnered with City of Covington. We've received AARP grant money from them. So a lot of what we do is grant funded, but we're always looking for people with checkbooks.
Nonprofit.
We are a nonprofit. If you're familiar with the name Tim Hanner, he was a Kenton County superintendent years ago, and he had to retire due to needing a kidney transplant. And in his retirement, sitting in the hospital, he thought about, what are we not getting the students ready for when they graduate? What can we do better? Spent a lot of time talking to graduates and putting things together. So he and a group of leaders in the area, especially in education and business, came together and created Navigo. And he has since retired from Navigo and had another transplant. But I got to work for him a little bit before he retired again. And that is kind of where Navigo started. So our whole goal is about helping students find the right path and individualized support. So we do one-to-one coaching if a student needs more help outside of what they're getting at school. We do coaching in the schools. So for instance, Campbell County, we have a curriculum, they use it in middle school and high school, and it's college and career coaching. And we train their staff how to be coaches. We have Navigo Scholar Groups. I see Kathy here. She was part of one of our scholars groups for students who wanted to learn more about law. And so you may have heard of Navigo Scholars. And we've been kind of the big push behind YouScience in the region.
You mentioned Campbell County is involved with you. I assume all of the schools are extremely interested in incorporating these findings into the practical, just the practical use of this to help students. So what's that look like right now?
What's really cool is a school that is using this can pull their data and say, oh man, we're offering a pathway, I'm gonna make this up, a pathway in culinary, but we don't have any students with aptitudes in culinary. Let's take a look at what pathway we need to offer versus maybe some that aren't being utilized. So it helps give them real-time data, but also planning data. And they can look, if a district is using it, they can look as a district at those numbers or individual school numbers.
So all the districts are working closely with you on implementing these?
A lot of districts are, yes.
So in
Yes.
Boone County, all of the high school students take the YouScience test, and they do it, like I know at Boone County High School, they do it in their homerooms over a series of time, and then can look at their data. I know when I did the Cooper exit interviews last year, all of the kids referenced their YouScience and using YouScience. Yeah. Personally, both my kids have taken it, and it actually helped Sophie determine where she was going. She's studying industrial organizational psychology, and that was the exact top match between her aptitudes and interests. She never would have thought of that on her own. I mean, that's kind of an obscure kind of thing. But then what's cool about it is that it does the career match, but then it starts drilling down. You can drill down into colleges and their programs. You can drill down into about the career and what's involved, but then also employment opportunities. It was kind of ironic because one of the employment opportunities for industrial
was at Humana, which is where her dad works. So she's like, oh, well, maybe if I do go into this, I can go work with my dad at Humana type thing. But
Yeah.
it is, I've never seen a tool that really gets to that aptitude part. Like we've always, like you mentioned, had the interest things. And I know a lot of times back, I think it was the ILP when they did an interest thing. A lot of times they come up with like tattoo artists and different things, like, and the kids, it was junk. And so the kids didn't treat it very respectfully, because they were getting junk back out. Now YouScience, they're taking this seriously. And I know like when Karen Chester was in Fort Thomas, she used the results of that, of the aptitudes of her kids, and they changed their high school curriculums to match what the aptitudes of the kids are.
Wow.
Yeah, my daughter is really strong in math and science, and she knew that, and she was like, should I go into nursing or biomedical engineering? And this helped her even fine tune that, because she really had more a strength of that research and lab side. So it helped her see that between her interests and her aptitudes, that and biomedical engineering was like her top career. And she's like, yes. I'm like, you know about yourself, but this still helped kind of just really narrow in. Yes.
I have a question, Mike. Corey put up a stat there that's kind of interesting to me. And so what are the individuals, the 6,000 from 19 to 24, what are they doing?
Living in their parents' basements.
Okay. We can assume that.
Let's
I
take
also,
a poll. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
We are actually partnering, well, we've always partnered with the Brighton Center, but we've been working pretty closely with the folks at the Brighton Center here lately to like, how can we work together to identify those students and help bring them into the workforce in a meaningful way. So Brighton Center is actually using YouScience as well. So when they bring students in, they can take them through this. So if they haven't taken it in their high school, they can get it there. And we have another person on our team who goes into a lot of, it just happened to be this way, but a lot of the alternative schools in the area, in the region, and works with those students on essential skills, takes them through YouScience, and it gets them to a point where, okay, maybe you don't want to go to college, let's get you work ready. So we're really trying hard to find those kids and do something with them. A lot of times the school districts can identify them. They might say, hey, so-and-so, they graduated 2 years ago, but they're not doing anything. Here, can you reach out to them? So it's really kind of a taking a village approach, trying to find those students.
Yes. Does this program go to, like, the aptitude test come out and there's a group that want to be nurses? And did they follow through with like having a career day and like some kind of gymnasium group, and then have a professional nurse there so they can ask them what it's like to be a nurse or, a lawyer, or did that program do that?
So it doesn't do that, but the data allows the schools to identify the right students. So the schools are constantly working with my colleague who brings business and education together. And she she is like the lead on this tool called My Career E3. And a business can say, hey, I want to be in My Career E3 so students can find me. I can bring a speaker in. I can have them tour our facility. We can do shadowing. We can do internships. We can do co-ops. So if a student then says, hey, nursing is my thing, then we can go in here and say, okay, look what all St. Elizabeth has to offer that they've entered in here. We also have a great relationship with them. So we just call Lois Post and say, hey, can you help us with this student? So it's really helpful for, in the past, let's say Toyota would come in and say, hey, we want to talk to people who are interested in working for Toyota. Well, they sit in the cafeteria and nobody shows up. Now they can say, hey, let's run a report. Those people who have high aptitudes for careers in advanced manufacturing, engineering, we're going to send a letter to their parents, the schools, because we're not sharing that for protected information, and say, your student's been identified as having a high aptitude in these careers. You might want to come to this evening event, bring in mom and dad or your family. So it's really a way to help target and be more intentional about having the students go to these events. And then like the JA Inspire event, it's huge. That's a couple of thousand students go to, and they have all these presenters, so then students can look at their stuff, their results, and go, okay, these are the industries I'm gonna check out when I go to JA Inspire. So it really makes that more meaningful, but then yes, we can really target them to have that exposure. Because they don't wanna just graduate and then go off to school to be a nurse if they haven't. They may have a high aptitude for it and get in there and pass out when they see blood. So we've got to make sure that we're exposing them to those things before they pay $70,000 and get a degree in nursing.
Thank you very much. Great work.
Thank you, that was very interesting. I want to remind you that there is no meeting next Monday on January 16th. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Our next meeting is Monday, January 23rd at the Hebron branch of Boone County Public Library. Anything else for the good of the group? All right.